Welcome to Florida Health Finder. I like to begin with a little bit of history about the website. Florida Health Finder is maintained by the Agency for Healthcare Administration. Most people know this agency by our acronym, AHCA, which is AHCA. AHCA is a state agency in Florida that's responsible for three primary aspects of healthcare. The first of these is Medicaid. Many people who think of AHCA think of Medicaid. The second is licensing healthcare providers. Now, providers can be a tricky word. Sometimes people think that means we license doctors and nurses, but we do not. That is the Department of Health, DOH, which is a different state agency. The providers that are licensed by AHCA are usually facilities like hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living facilities. We also license some providers that don't have a facility, such as hospice providers or home health agencies, providers that go into the patient's home. There are currently about 48,000 healthcare providers licensed by AHCA in Florida, and they all fall into one of approximately 33 license types. And I'll say more about that in a moment. The third aspect of what AHCA does in Florida is collect a lot of information about the providers that we license. So this includes things like pricing information, volume information, bed size, bed count information, information about their sanctions, information about their inspections, information about the providers that compares them to the other providers in their area. And all of this information that we collect about these providers is available on Florida Health Finder. So that third aspect is really what Florida Health Finder is all about. This is the place to come to see the information that we have collected about the providers who are licensed by AHCA. I'm often asked by providers, how do I get my facility or my program on Florida Health Finder? Well, as long as you are a provider who is licensed by AHCA, you will already be on our website. So with that said, let's take a look at the layout of the home page of Florida Health Finder. We can see right in the middle is a button that says Locate a Facility or Provider, and this is the most popular tool on Florida Health Finder, so that will be our first stop after we take a quick look around the home page and get oriented. There's a Compare section right here in the center left of the screen. And this is where we have tools that compare the 5 most popular types of providers that are licensed by AHCA. And that's assisted living facilities, home health agencies, hospitals and ambulatory surgery centers, and nursing homes. Those 5 types, although they are searchable here on the Facility Locator tool, also have a comparison tool dedicated just to this type of license. And I will demonstrate both of these, both the Facility Locator tool and the comparison tools today, so that you can get a sense of how they are similar and how they differ. On the right side, here is an additional way to access the Locator tool. You can see it right here, facilities or providers. Doctors and specialists, just so that you're not confused by my statement that we don't license doctors, and yet here is some information about them. If you click this, it's actually a link to the Department of Health website, so that people who do come here may be a little confused. They're looking for information on doctors, which is understandable because of the name. We have a link here right to the Department of Health website. Now let's go back. And so in the very center of the Florida Health Finder website is a link to a brand new website. This is brand new. We just launched Florida Health Price Finder last week, and today's webinar will include a visit to Florida Health Price Finder, where I will go over what this website is all about, how it differs from Florida Health Finder, and why you might be interested in visiting Florida Health Price Finder. If we scroll down here on the home page, there are resources for consumers grouped on the lower left, health education, and this includes our health encyclopedia and our symptom navigator, and then researcher data. So that's the layout on the home page. And as I mentioned, we are going to first take a look at the Facility Provider Locator tool. I do want to point out there's a menu across the top of the screen, and this menu will be on every page that we go to, so you don't have to come back to the home page in order to navigate to a different part of Florida Health Finder. You can see the links to those comparison tools, a link to Florida Health Price Finder, health resources, the Facility Locator tool, and the researcher data, all here at the top of the page in a handy navigation panel. So I'm going to click this button to proceed with the Facility Locator tool right here in the middle. When we click this, we have two options. Now, the one on the left says search by facility type, and that is the one 9 times out of 10 I will recommend that you use because it offers you many more ways to filter your search. So why would we have the one on the right? Because the one on the right searches by proximity. So if you were to put in an address anywhere in Florida and set a radius of 1 or 5 or 10 miles, and then enter the kind of facility that you're looking for or provider, it will show you where the nearest facilities are or providers in relation to your location. It's a proximity search. And this is handy with our phone app. So we have a smartphone app for this tool, and that is the main way that I would say you'll end up wanting to use the proximity search. But for now, we're going to click Search by Facility Type, and this brings us to the tool itself. The very first button is a drop-down menu, and this is important because this is the only place on Florida Health Finder where you can see a complete list of all of those 33 license types. Now, I mentioned those 5 tools that compare just 5 of these licenses. Well, the other 20-something licenses are all here and only searchable here with the Facility Locator tool. So that's one reason that this tool is the most popular. In order to use this tool, you do have to make a selection. If you don't know what you're looking for, and that happens quite often, you can select all types at the very top. And then you can proceed with several other ways you can filter this by location information, with some ACA identifiers, an affiliated individual or entity. This is a really neat filter because you can put the name of a person in this filter and then find a list of all of the licenses on which their name appears, perhaps as a CEO or an owner or an administrator. Now, I'm going to select nursing homes from this list, and let's see if we scroll down here, because I want to show you this blue bar with this small gray triangle. If you click this, you'll open the advanced search options. This is a whole other set of filters, and this will change depending on the type of license you select in the first drop-down menu. So, for example, we have it on nursing homes, and we can see features that relate to nursing homes, adult daycare services, languages spoken, religious affiliations, and these special programs here. These all focus on nursing home services like an Alzheimer's secured unit or an adult daycare or pet therapy. If we go back up and select hospital, for example, the advanced search options have changed, and now you can search for hospital-related filters. For example, a kind of particular emergency service. You might be looking for a hospital with an off-site emergency department or an off-site outpatient or surgery center. You might be looking for a hospital that's a statutory teaching hospital or a specific service or a specific kind of trauma center. So these advanced search options are important to remember because they are often what individuals are looking for when they come to me and say, how do I find a list of all of the programs, all of the hospitals in Florida that have an adult kidney transplant program? Well, you can find that here by selecting hospital. And then under the advanced search options, we would go to organ transplant programs, adult kidney. So that gives you an idea of the many different ways that you could use this tool to set up your search. I'll go back to nursing homes here. Let's see, let's go back right there and put in a city. So let's search with a city, and I will put in Orlando. and now click Search. And this is what we will see with the Facility Locator tool. Our results will be organized alphabetically by the name of the facility in the first column. And this is a complete list, just like that, just that quickly, of all licensed nursing homes in Orlando. Type, this refers to the type of license, and because we selected only nursing homes, that's all we'll see here. Street address, city, state, zip, phone number, and total number of licensed beds are the columns that you will see with the Facility Provider Locator. Now, there are several ways you can proceed. You might want to print this list, and there is an embedded print button. You might want more information about all of these providers, and in that case, I recommend the Export to Excel button, because when you press this button, this is what you will see, which, let me pull this over onto your screen. This is an Excel document with preloaded fields that have imported all of the information that we have in our database about these providers, these nursing homes in Orlando. So just like that, you have generated a list of all the license numbers, all of the license expiration dates. For example, this is very handy for administrators who are responsible for maintaining the licenses of multiple facilities. It's important that they make sure they renew those licenses on time before they expire. Well, an easy way to keep track of all your facility license expiration dates is to generate a search in the Facility Locator tool and export your results to Excel and save this document, because now you'll have that list of all of those expiration dates in one location. Other information that will transfer over with this is all of their mailing information, street address, mailing address, phone number. We can scroll over here and we will see the owner, how long they have been the owner. Let's see if we can see that. Scroll over a little further. Yes, the name of the administrator and CEO, the number of licensed beds, and if we keep scrolling over, even the web address. So a lot of great information here. Now, you might not be interested in this. You might find this is far more information than you wanted because you were really just looking for one facility. And that's okay, because all of these names are hyperlinks, and you can click on any one of them to see more information about a particular provider. So if we click the very first one, Adventist Care Centers, here's what we'll see. This is called a facilities profile page. And this is the other most important reason that people use the Facility Locator tool, because the information on a provider's profile page is updated every single night. So this is the most up-to-date information that you can find anywhere on the providers that are licensed by AHCA. And this includes that street address, that mailing information, a link to their website, all of their administrative information. We can open this menu and actually see the name of all the board members. Bed type, licensure information, and here for nursing homes, we include the current daily rate, the occupancy rate, and then the answers to all of those filters that we saw. What languages are spoken? What payment forms are accepted? What religious affiliations, if any, what special programs and services, and links to all of the legal actions. I will take a moment to say a little bit about what this means, legal actions, because it can be a little confusing. This does not include all legal actions with the provider and the public. For example, if a patient sued this provider. What this includes are any legal actions between AHCA as the licensing entity and the provider. So if there are any legal actions in a provider's history, those will be listed on their profile page, and these case numbers are hyperlinks. You can actually click these, and you will go to our main agency website, and that's AHCA.myFlorida.com. That is our main website for our agency, and so that might be a little confusing. Why do you have an agency website and a Florida Health Finder website? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, Florida Health Finder really just focuses on the information that our agency collects about the providers we license. But because there is a lot more that AHCA does besides that, including, as I mentioned, Medicaid, there is a whole other website just for our agency and all of the units and bureaus within our agency. So the legal documents are housed online on our main agency website. So that's why we've linked outside of Florida Health Finder to this website. And if you click the blue Select button right here on the left side of this list, you will actually open up a scanned copy of that final order of this legal action. Now, anyone can see this. You do not need to have a login. You don't have to be on the webinar. You don't have to work for ACA. Anyone can come to Florida Health Finder, click on a provider's profile page, scroll down, see if there's any legal actions, and click on those and view them. So it's just that easy. If you did not know how to access this, now you know. On Florida Health Finder, we can go back to that profile page. Right here at the bottom, if there are legal actions, they'll be listed right here. Now I'm going to return to the home page. And to do that, I am going to click the Florida Health Finder logo. I don't have to do that to proceed on to the comparison tools, which is where we're heading next, but I am going to do that just for those of you who are new, who have just either logged in, or this is actually our brand new layout of Florida Health Finder. It's quite different than what we had just a couple of weeks ago. And so on the home page, this is where we were just now. We were on this facility provider locator tool. And we're going to look now at the comparison section. I mentioned in the beginning, 5 of the provider types have their own comparison tool. Now, we just looked at what a nursing home looks like on the facility provider locator tool. Now let's look at the same category, nursing homes, as a comparison tool, and that's right here at the bottom, nursing homes. I'll click that, and we are now on the nursing home comparison tool page. In the lower left is an Educate section that focuses just on nursing homes. So this is going to include answers to all the questions that we receive. How do I select a nursing home? What is a nursing home? How does it differ from long-term care in general, for example, assisted living facilities? Well, these are the kinds of questions that we get, and it's understandable because for people who work in the healthcare industry in Florida, you gradually acquire this understanding of long-term care. And I am still learning. There is a lot to learn. But for somebody who is brand new to this process, trying to select a facility can be overwhelming, partly because there are so many different terms for the different kinds of providers out there. So this is a way to try to make that a little bit easier by offering some educational tools and resources for people to look through. And these are great, and I will actually visit these later in the webinar so we can take a look together at what these education resources look like. There are some additional agency resources and the other resources here. This includes a link to file a complaint, and you will see this link in several locations on Florida Health Finder. And the first question I always get about it is, who can I complain about? Because, right, we want to know who we can complain about when we see something like that. And the answer is any entity that is licensed by ACA. If we license that provider, then you can file a complaint with us about them. And that can be done 2 ways, online or by phone. And you can do so anonymously. If you do not want to leave any identifying information, you absolutely do not have to. Now, to compare nursing homes, we'll click the button in the middle of the screen, Compare Inspection Ratings. And the first option, I do want to select the first one to compare inspection ratings. Step 2, search by geographic location, is what I will choose today, and continue. Now you see this map of Florida, and there are several ways we can proceed. We could search by region, and this refers to the 11 ACA regions. This is how ACA has divided up the state of Florida. County, city, by provider name. You can search by special service if you prefer, and this is a really neat option because this includes, again, those filters we saw earlier on the facility locator tool. And it allows you to just search for facilities that offer these services. There's a mix here of therapeutic and recreational services and programs. So, for example, Alzheimer's secured units, adult daycare, but then some lighter options. For example, we can see therapeutic spa or yoga. So these, I think, really add that personal touch where you can, not just look for the financial information or the volume information about a provider, but you're also trying to make this decision for a real person in most instances. These comparison tools in particular are geared towards real people making real decisions for themselves or for their families. And so you want to know more. You want to know, will they actually be happy here? Will this actually be a place that will have things that are important to me or to my loved one? And we've tried to integrate as much of that as we can into these tools, and the facilities search by special service is one of my favorite parts of this tool. So I always like to point that out so that everyone knows you can select for these programs or services. And then search by zip code. That's the other option. I'm going to go back to county. You can do a multi-county search by holding down the control button on your keyboard and then clicking the different counties that you would like to search. I am going to just pick one. Let's pick, I think, Escambia. I believe that's Pensacola area. And we will view our results. And so right away you can see this looks very different than the facility provider locator tool nursing home search. And one of the first things that jumps out are these stars. Now before I get to those, I want to point out the time period for this search. All of the comparison tools will have a time period listed in the upper left. I do recommend you check that because it is different for each tool. And I've had people ask why. Why is the time period different? Wouldn't it be easier if it was all the same? It might be easier, but it is not all the same because these different providers are all governed by different statutes and rules and regulations. And part of that determines what the kind of information that they report to us and when they have to report that. And so that will influence what information is available on Florida Health Finder. And so we can see with nursing homes, the time period is from April 2015 through September 2017. And so that is the time frame that these results are taken from. So that's important to keep in mind. And it will also remind you, we're looking here at Escambia County. So this is a list of all of the nursing homes in Escambia County. It's a complete list, alphabetically listed by the name of the provider. And then the star ratings here at the bottom, it explains what these performance measures mean. So 5 stars means that this facility ranked better than 81 to 100% of the facilities in its region. So we are comparing to the same region here. All the way down to 1 star. And that means that they only ranked better than 0 to 20% of the facilities in their region. So shorthand is 5 is high, 1 is low. And with that in mind, you can now see and compare these providers, their overall inspection score. So these are their inspection results. Here's an overall 2-star. Here's an overall 5-star. Here's an overall 1-star. So this overall score is then broken out by its individual inspection components: quality of care, quality of life, administration, nutrition and hydration, restraints and abuse, pressure ulcers, decline, and dignity. So this is what it means to be a comparison tool. It's a very different layout than the locator tool, and it really focuses on this side-by-side comparison. However, you can still click on any of the names of the providers that you see here. I'll click the first one, Arcadia, and you will go to that facility's profile page. This should look familiar. And so you can still get that up-to-date, detailed information about the provider, again, updated every single night. And if we go back, these results also can be exported to Excel, and they export really nicely. I'll open this up so you can see. Let's open this, and the stars actually transfer over too, and you can save this. So if you want to save all of your search results, it's just that easy to do it. Just very few clicks, and you have generated this search and saved it. Let's go back now to the home page. And back on the home page, we have looked at the locator tool and under compare, the nursing home comparison tool. And I'd like to show you one more comparison tool for a provider type today, not a facility. Today we're going to look at the home health agency comparison tool. So let's click that. And again, on this tool, there's an educate section. What are home health agencies? It's a great question, and there are answers to just those basic questions as well as more advanced questions in the educate section. Again, those agency resources, including a link to file a complaint. So we'll click the button to compare home health agencies now, right in the middle of the screen. Again, we see a map of Florida, but this time you can tell right away that your selection for searching is a little different. And again, this is because the kinds of information that these different provider types report to us is different. And so with home health agencies, you could search by county or service area, by the name of the provider, or by their certification status. And there's 4: Medicaid certified, Medicare, both, or neither. I will run a county search. Scroll down, let's pick Baker County. We'll pick, I think, the biggest, Miami-Dade. View our results. And now on this screen, comparing home health agencies, I will point out again that time frame, because for home health agencies, it's a 7-year rolling window. And what that means is whatever day we come to the tool and use it, the window in which the results are pulled from will be from yesterday back 7 years. So today is December the 6th. So this tool is showing us from yesterday, December 5th, back 7 years. And now we can see all of the home health agencies in Miami and there in Miami-Dade County, and there are a lot. We can see over on the right side the scroll bar, and look at that. There are a lot. And so if we go back up to the top, here is how we compare them. First, by the number of counties and service areas that a provider covers. And you can hover your mouse over the number and a menu will appear that will list those counties. What type of certification do they have? Are they Medicare, Medicaid, both, or neither? That will be listed next. Accreditation. There are, I believe, 3 types of accreditation, possibly 4. There's ACHC, Joint Commission, CHAP, and I think there might be one more. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but those will be listed here if they have an additional accreditation. The number of complaints in that 7-year window will be listed next. The number of sanctions or final orders, any fines that they have had to pay, and then their deficiencies, and these are broken out by class type, which is a measure of the severity of the deficiency, and the totals are collected here in the first column. So here's one with 0, here's one with 8, 21, and so on, and you can sort these using the arrows at the top of each column. The number of annual patient admissions that will be compared next, and then their Medicare quality of patient care score if it's available. And so this is what it means, again, to be a comparison tool. This is the home health agency comparison tool. You can see that it is different in some ways than the nursing home comparison tool. The time period is different, and this one uses numerals instead of stars to compare the information. So with that in mind, we're going to now go back to the home page, and I will just point out there are additional tools if you want to come back and look at these on your own time. The assisted living tool, hospitals, and ambulatory surgery centers. And then we also have health plan comparison information. So there's a link to all types of health plans here, and then there's one just specifically for Medicaid health plans, and that's our Medicaid health plan report card. And if I click that, we can see, again, that map of Florida. And I'll quickly show you how you can use this tool to compare health plans that are participating in Medicaid managed care. So you need to select a county. I'll pick Calhoun. And when you view the results on the Medicaid health plan report card, you can see, again, the date here. This is for 2016. And for this county, Calhoun, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plans that are participating in Medicaid managed care. And there are 6 categories that these plans are scored on. It's a 5-star system. 5 stars, they're at or above 50% of all Medicaid health plan scores, all the way down to 1 star, which is that they were worse than 90% of all Medicaid health plan scores. So again, 5 is high and 1 is low. And we can see their overall pregnancy-related care score, keeping kids healthy, children's dental, keeping adults healthy, living with illness, and mental health care. Now we can further drill down on these categories by clicking on any of them at the top. So if I click on keeping adults healthy, now we can see some more specific measures for these different plans, or living with illness. Again, much more specific information. You can see how the columns change, mental health, and so on. So the Medicaid Health Plan Report Card is a really handy tool for anybody who is trying to make that selection of a health plan with Medicaid managed care, because a pregnant woman is possibly going to be looking for a different plan than a senior with diabetes. They are going to have very different health needs, and they might select for a different plan based on that. And this tool is just a way to make that process a little bit simpler, a little less complicated. So going back to the home page, this is where we've been. We've been looking at our comparison tools here. Now, right over in the middle, right beneath the Florida Health Price Finder logo, which we are about to get to, it says prescription drug prices. And this is also a really neat comparison tool, one of my favorites. And I'm going to click this, and it will take us to another website that is maintained by ACA and the Office of the Attorney General. And this is myfloridarx.com. To use this site, click the blue button, and this will give you the option of selecting for any county in Florida. And I will pick Hillsborough, and then you need to select a city in that county, and I'll pick Tampa. And now you have the choice of any of the most common 300 prescription drugs. Used to be 150. They have recently doubled this, so there are now 300 prescription drugs to choose from. Every 30 days, pharmacies in Florida have to report what they're charging retail for prescription drugs. And so that's the information that you will see. So if I pick, for example, atorvastatin 10 milligrams and click search, here's what we're going to see. This is for Tampa, again, at the top. This is for the month of October. And this is every pharmacy in Tampa that sold atorvastatin 10 milligram tablets, a quantity of 30. So I want you to remember that this is the same quantity and the same strength and the same city. And the price ranges from a low of $10.99 at the Winn-Dixie on North Armenia Avenue. And it goes up from there, immediately doubles, $20 at a Sam's, $30 at a Walmart. Scrolling down, $47.95 at a Publix. Here was $32 at a Winn-Dixie. $95.59 at several CVS pharmacies. And this price will change not just on the chain, but also on just the location. Even the same chain, different locations will have different prices. So we're scrolling up, still 95, 105 now at a different Walgreens, 126 at Tampa Drugs and Diabetic Center, and the high, same month, again, 10 milligrams, 30 tablets, $328 at West Coast Pharmacy. So if you didn't have insurance that covered your prescription, or if you didn't have insurance and you had to fill a prescription, which means you're going to pay the retail price, this is the price you will pay, you could literally save over $300 just by going to a different pharmacy in the same city. So that is one of the reasons this is my one of my favorite tools, because it is a huge money saver that anyone in Florida can benefit from. And so if you didn't know about My Florida RX, now you know where to find it, which is right here on the home page of Florida Health Finder in the very center, just by clicking prescription drug prices. So now let's take a quick peek at those resources for consumers. I mentioned a moment ago that we have answers to questions about the different provider types that ACA licenses. Well, this is where those are all kept, all of those answers. We have consumer guides right here. When we click consumer guides, this is probably, I'd say, one of the second or third most popular places on Florida Health Finder, and that is the consumer guides, because we have very detailed answers here to all of the issues that are listed, from assisted living in Florida, end of life planning, emergency and urgent care, Healthcare Advance Directives. I'll click this one because it's probably the most popular. This is what the live web page looks like. This is going to walk you through living wills, designation of a healthcare surrogate forms, and organ donation forms. It's going to explain what these are, and then at the bottom there are links to actually print your own copies, and you can print as many as you want. They are free and they are all right here on Florida Health Finder. Now if you want to print the entire brochure here, so the entire page, what I recommend, if we go back to that list, you can see next to each guide is a correlating PDF link. Print the PDF. The PDF is not as colorful or as pretty, but it is formatted for your printer. It will waste far less toner and paper, and it will look much cleaner and neater. So if you want to print the entire guide, use the PDF. And then there's long-term care, nursing home care, patient safety, patient bill of rights, and understanding prescription drug costs, and home health care. All of these guides are available in Spanish by clicking aquí at the top. And so you can see now, same guides in Spanish. Back on the home page, health education, I do want to point out if we click here that this is the place to link to our health encyclopedia and our symptom navigator. And then going back to the home page and scrolling down, researcher data. This was formerly called the Researchers and Professionals part of Florida Health Finder. They've changed it to just researcher data. And that's because this part of Florida Health Finder deals with data. Even though there is a lot of data on Florida Health Finder that's available for free, we do have right here, if we go under, let's see, where are we? Oh, right at the top, order data, the order data data dictionary page. If we click here, this is going to show you what kind of additional data is available, because researchers sometimes have very specific data needs, and so they are going to want something that goes above and beyond what's available on Florida Health Finder. And so we have a calendar here that shows what quarter we're in for reporting, these three categories: inpatient, emergency department, and outpatient. And there is a data catalog, a price list for special orders, and then contact information. If you do have any questions about data orders, my wonderful coworker Arlene Schwann is the data orders expert, and this is her direct phone number and email. And so now back on Florida Health Finder, I'm going to pop back in one more time to researcher data. I did want to point out this is also where the patient data query tool is kept. This tool allows you to search 3 years of patient data for 3 types of providers: inpatient, hospital, outpatient, and emergency departments. There is a whole other webinar available just for this tool because it is the most complex search tool on Florida Health Finder. So if you are interested in learning more about the patient data query tool, I will pull up my contact information at the end. Back on Florida Health Finder. Now we're going to go to Florida Health Price Finder. And this website just launched last week. So when we click this, we will go to another website. Let's give it one moment. And here we are, Florida Health Price Finder. Now, I'm going to explain the difference here with this website and why we created this website. On Florida Health Finder, we have, for many years, had pricing information about all of the procedures and conditions that people might need to go to the hospital for. So appendectomies, knee replacement. The information, the pricing information, has traditionally been the charge data, what hospitals actually charge for these procedures. But a much more accurate form of pricing information is claims data, what was actually paid by health plans. So that claims data is what Florida Health Price Finder allows you to find. So it's a little bit more accurate, and that's why we have Florida Health Price Finder. So to use this, and you can see right here, it says facility data coming soon. Well, you know how on the previous tools we could see facility by facility. Well, that's what's coming. You will be able to see this for individual facilities in 2018. So I'll show you what is here right now. So let's go ahead and look at knee. Let's just put in the word knee. Let's say we're looking for anything related to knee. Well, it will bring up a list of all the possible procedures related to a knee. There are 295 different bundles of procedures listed here on Florida Health Price Finder. I'm going to click the first option, knee replacement. And let's give that a minute to load. And this is what we'll see. You see this term care bundle. Well, when you are trying to find out the price for something like a knee replacement, it's not going to just include the actual surgery, is it? It's going to include what you'll see here under care bundle details, which I'll click on now. And this will break out what you'd actually pay for the whole life of that procedure, from the office visit with the specialist to the actual knee replacement, and then to the outpatient and physical therapy rehab that you will need afterwards, and the follow-up visit. So this care bundle gives you a much clearer understanding of what you are really going to pay for a procedure, because it includes the before and the after. And so that's what the term care bundle means, and it breaks down that score. Now you can see a national average and a state, Florida, average, but what we're not seeing yet here is local. You can see local if we click that, because it knows, it's very smart, this tool. It knows that I'm in Tallahassee. And so it's immediately checked that box. And so, but it says, uh-oh, not available. Well, just like the sticker said on the home page, it will be there in 2018. It is not on there yet. But we can see that average for the national and for Florida. And so there's a little more information about how these costs are calculated, but that's a general understanding of what Florida Health Price Finder is all about and what you can do with this website. And again, it's linked right here in the middle of Florida Health Finder. And so that concludes our walkthrough of Florida Health Finder. And if you have questions, I will pull up my contact information now. This is my contact information, Jess Hand, my direct phone, and email.